With the last video, I mostly talked about the potential that the Universal Heavyweight Championship WWE is creating for the Raw brand is going to have. But like I said, I mostly look at it being look at this Universal Championship being introduced and established on Raw so that it eventually will be established enough to make its way over to SmackDown. Well, it will basically become the exclusive championship of SmackDown, while the WWE World Heavyweight Championship will end up back on Raw, just like they did with the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship in 2005. Yeah, in case you guys don't know, it took about almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years, almost close to 3 years for the WWE Championship to come back to Raw, while the World Heavyweight Championship went to SmackDown. The reason being is because the World Heavyweight Championship, even though it was being held by the likes of Triple H and Goldberg and Shawn Michaels, when it got around Batista's waist, it basically signaled that it was going to be a championship that, for the most part, when you take a look at the listing of champions that held it, would be a championship established for the younger, up-and-coming future stars at that time. And yes, true, guys like The Undertaker, he held the championship a couple of times, and so did John Cena. But the only reason John Cena held it was it made its way back to Raw. But again, you take a look at the list of established young guys that nowadays you look at someone like a Seth Rollins and a Finn Balor were the future of the company. That's basically what that championship was made for, or became basically. Yes, it got and the reason it was introduced or reestablished, resurrected on Raw, was to prepare it to be the sole championship on SmackDown. And I think they made that decision around 2005 when John Cena was hitting his stride, was becoming the player that he eventually would become, the face that would run the place, as he would say. Hey, when they saw the money maker right there at that time, 11 years ago, that's when the decision was made, and maybe even before that, to bring the WWE Championship back to Raw and put the World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown. And that's pretty much, again, like I said in the previous video, I see them doing with the Universal Championship. I see it being introduced and established here on Raw as its primary championship for maybe the next year or so, until maybe next year's draft or the following year's draft in 2018, where it'll eventually make its way to SmackDown and the WWE Championship will make its way back to Raw. You know that as well as I do. But speaking of new championships, we all know that SmackDown Live has got to basically, it's got to introduce some new championships as well, right? I mean, if the tag team, if there's nothing said, if nothing is mentioned, and the tag team titles are solely a part of Raw, exclusive to Raw, and the Women's Championship is exclusive to Raw, and the Cruiserweight title, of course, is going to be exclusive to Raw, then SmackDown Live has to have an answer for that. And I think I know what they're going to do. Just my opinion on what I feel could be the championships they bring in to be the answer and equivalent to those. One, as far as the Women's Championship is concerned, I see them either creating a SmackDown Women's Championship, which would be basically maybe a blue version. I basically see them creating a SmackDown Women's Championship, which could be like a championship similar to the women's title Sasha Banks has now, but with a blue belt strap instead, and maybe a blue marking instead of the red marking underneath the W. I could see that. Or I could see them resurrecting the Ladies Championship. I could see that. If they bring back the Divas title, I know nobody's going to like that. So I could see them maybe bringing back the Ladies Championship and make it at the SmackDown the WWE Ladies Championship. Or I could see them creating a SmackDown Women's Championship. Probably more so a SmackDown Women's Championship. Again, same kind of title design. The only difference is it's going to say SmackDown Live on the side, and it's going to probably have the logo with the red stripe being colored blue and a blue leather strap instead. I could probably see that. As far as the tag team titles go, they can either bring back the World Tag Team titles or call them the Smackdown Tag Team titles, which could sound good too. But I could also see them doing something that I don't think any of us would see coming. They want to promote that this is a new era, that things are changing, and things are going to be different. It's going to have a different vibe, a different feel. I wouldn't be surprised if one of three things happens. One, they either resurrect the World Tag Team titles, which were the blue straps they used to have, and bring those in. Two, they create new championships and they just call them the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. Or three, they resurrect a championship we had not seen, as far as wrestling is concerned, in almost 25 years. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised that to really shake things up, they resurrect the United States Championship, the United States Tag Team Championships. I mean, they got a whole history of championships they retired without formal ceremonies or announcements that they can bring back from the dead. And like I said, I look at those three options. I look at them bringing back the World Tag Team titles, the ones that were introduced by Stephanie McMahon on SmackDown. I see them creating new SmackDown Tag Team titles that will say SmackDown Live on there. Or to really shake things up and show that things have changed and basically kind of pay homage to the past and their history, I can see them resurrecting the United States Tag Team titles to be the Tag Team Championships for SmackDown. I can see that. So let me know what you guys think. Which one of those three options do you think is probably more viable? Then third, we know that Monday Night Raw is getting a cruiserweight division. So if I'm WWE and I want Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan to show that SmackDown is going to be the alternative to Raw, it's going to be the better show. It's going to have the better wrestling. The focus is going to be on the wrestlers, on the men and women that perform in the ring. Then I want a championship that no one else has. And if I'm working with someone like Daniel Bryan, I dig into his history. I create for the first time, and I create and introduce the first ever WWE Pure Championship. That's right. For any of you ROH fans out there, PWG fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Pure Championship, as far as ROH was concerned, was a championship with certain rules. One, you had a 20-minute count. You had a 20 count instead of a 10 count. You had a limitation on rope breaks. You couldn't, hit someone in the face with your fist. On the body, fine, but not in the face. You had to slap them. You had to shake hands before the match. So if I'm WWE and I want to establish SmackDown, reestablish it as the alternative, as being on equal par with Raw now, and like I say, being that alternative that is going to really shake things up, be that change that WWE needs, be that show that gives you that brand, or be that show, that brand that gives you that change that WWE needs, then I would basically, like I say, dig into Daniel Bryan's career past and pull out the idea for a WWE Pure Championship, because that would really set SmackDown apart in a sense. Now I could see them doing that. I could see them bringing back, creating the first ever WWE Television Championship, which would be nice. Heck, I can even see them reinstating the WWE European Championship. So I could see one of those coming. I could see one of those as well. But to me, if I really want to set myself apart, even from Raw, even though they'll have the Cruiserweight Championship, which will in the cruiserweight division, which will definitely bring some excitement. I bring in and create a championship that has such a unique feel to it with its matches that not even from a storyline perspective, Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley can do anything about it. Can't stop it or anything. So that's what I would do. If I want to really make SmackDown the wrestling show, that's what I would do. I would create if I'm WWE and I want to set SmackDown apart from Raw and even NXT, I create a pure championship and have rules similar to what they had in ROH. So that's what I would do for the potential championships that could be introduced for SmackDown Live down the line, or the potential championships SmackDown Live will introduce. So let me know what you guys think, though, down below. Comment if you like. Which one of those championships do you think will become a reality? And what championships do you think should be reinstated or resurrected from WWE's past or even WCW's past? Or what championships do you think they should create out of inspiration from what they see around the wrestling world and the indies? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. And I am out.